Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Tanks. Going to be doing a review here of the FV201 A45, which is a premium tier 7 British heavy tank. This heavy tank hasn't been released on the EU server until now. It was on the US server for part of a special event. I think it was a mission marathon sort of thing, and you could win this tank. But now it came into the store in the collector's Gem of the Week special thing, and so this is what you get. It's yeah, tier 7 premium British heavy tank, and it's very different compared to the, well, I say very different, it's fairly different to the other tier 7 British heavy tank, which is the Churchill Black Prince, or just the Black Prince. But let's see how it stacks up, shall we? 1500 HP is a lot of HP for a tier 7 heavy tank. For example, the Tiger 1 has got the same amount of HP. The Black Prince has got a fair amount of HP and is fairly durable in 1450. For example, this thing's got 1,400. The IS-2 has got a fairly low amount compared to that, 1,280. So it's pretty tied with the maximum amount of HP at tier 7. So it's got a very large HP pool. However, the armor is not that great. 76 at the front, 50 at the side, 38 at the rear of the hull, and 152 at the front of the turret, 88 at the sides and rear. So the armor is not that great. It is sloped at a decent sloping, and if you angle it like so around a corner, things will ricochet off of there. I've ricocheted T28 HTC gun, which has got how much penetration? Like 100 and something or other, 170 maybe. So it's only 76, but with angling, extreme angling, you can ricochet a lot of things off of the front of it. But from the front, directly head-on like that, or a little amount of angling like that, it's not going to bounce much. And the turret armor, 152 at the front, is well, the turret's definitely one of the good points about this tank. Hull down, the turret can be pretty effective. But the side of the turret, no. Rear of the turret, side of the hull, rear of the hull as well, that's a no as well. Side scraping you may want to do, but I mean, 50mm of side armor isn't that great for actually side scraping, so really the front of the tank is going to be the most heavily armored, as you would expect. But the HP does make up for the lack of armor, so at least there's that. As for mobility, it's a 56-ton tank, but it does have an 800 horsepower engine, which does mean that it gets up to 31 kilometers per hour with a 30 degrees per second traverse speed. Now, 30 degrees per second, whilst not being a lot, is definitely pretty good for a heavy tank. I mean, it's the same traverse speed as the VK4503. The Egg Panther's got slightly better. It's not as good as the IS-2, which has got a blistering traverse speed for what it is. But, I mean, it's still a pretty decent traverse speed for a heavy tank, especially one that weighs 56 tons. And the 800 horsepower engine, which means that it does have a 14.21 horsepower per ton ratio, and I have seen worse on heavy tanks. TOG 2, for example, Black Prince gets 12. So it is pretty sprightly, I would say, for a heavy tank. It's not the quickest heavy tank at all. I mean, the IS-2 is probably one of the best in mobility of heavy tanks, I would think, because the traverse speed of this thing is pretty good. But well, very good for a heavy tank. But for what this is, it's a decent enough traverse speed and decent enough mobility. As for concealment, yeah, not very concealed at all. 8.38 and a 5.19 concealment, yeah, not very good at all. It's better than the VK, not as good as the IS-2. These are tank destroyers. Black Prince, yeah. So the Black Prince is better camouflage than the FV, so you're gonna get spotted pretty easily in this tank. However, view range is alright, 388 meters view range. I mean, the IS-2, even with Brothers in Arms, only has 358 view range. So, yeah. It's got pretty decent view range, and the radio range is 570. It's not that great, but then again, it's a British radio. What do you expect? I mean, it's not as good as the Germans, who've got a 620 radio in this VK. The Russians are just crap with radios. They don't know anything about radios, so yeah. At least they're better than the Russians in radio range. So, I mean, the radio range could be better, but then again, it's still alright. And now we come to the gun, which is one of the better things of the tank, which is a 17-pounder Mark 7 gun, which is similar to the one on the AT-15A, the Black Prince, the Firefly, everything, just basically everything. So it's the same gun that's mounted on the TOG2 and the AC-4 in the premium tanks. So it's a 76.2mm gun. It has got a 14 rate of fire rounds per minute, which is, I think, better than the Black Prince. Yeah, Black Prince gets a 12 rate of fire. I don't know whether it's better than the AT-15A. No, it is not, but it's tied with the AT-15A. So it's got a decent rate of fire. The penetration for tier 7 is lacking a bit, but then again, 171 pen is still decent enough. It's still pretty good penetration. 239 with APCR, 38 with high explosive. The damage, yeah, you should be used to it by now from a 17-pounder, 150, 150, 190. The accuracy is not that great though. I mean, I think even the Firefly has got better accuracy. Let's have a look. Show me the Firefly. Yeah, 0.38 dispersion. So 0.39 dispersion isn't that great really. It's pretty inaccurate, but it does have a decent enough aim time of 2.3 seconds. So, I mean, it could be worse, but then again, could also be better. It's got a decent rate of fire with the gun ram events. Got a 3.6 second reload on this, so it's a very rapid fire 17-pounder, definitely. 100% crew, gun ram events, 16.5 rate of fire, so that's gone up by 2, which is nice. Good gun depression and gun elevation as well, minus 10 and 20, so I mean that's decent. It's got good gun, arc up and down. Again, with the crew and vents, 0.37 accuracy still isn't that great. Aim time is there. Yeah, pretty good turret traverse, 38.4. Which is, yeah, that's a decent one. Average DPM 2,400, which, yeah, I don't have a gun ram or vents fitted to the Black Prince, but something like the VK, it's better than the VK. VK's got a slow rate of fire gun, frankly. Better than the IS-2, probably, yeah, there we go. Not better than the Panther, which is just a DPM machine, nor is it... Well, it's sort of tied with the AT-15A, because that's got a pretty rapid fire gun, but... The gun is decent enough. So it's an alright heavy tank. I quite like it, but then again, it doesn't have one outstanding feature. For example, an example of outstanding features in all of these tanks, the VK has got its high penetration, accurate 88mm gun. The IS-2 has got the big alpha damage in the hand of Stalin. It's also got pretty good maneuverability. The Black Prince is the Black Prince. What more can be said? I mean, it's got it's a very heavily armored tank when you angle it and use it effectively. So it's got armor going for it. The FV doesn't really have anything going for it. I mean, the AT-15A has got a rapid-fire gun. The Panther as well has got huge DPM on it. The ISU has also got a good rate of fire for a 122. The 1357 has got a very quick-fire, long-barreled 57mm gun on it. The Panther M10 is another one of those things where I can't think of a really outstanding feature of it, other than the fact that it has got a pretty decent rate of fire, 13.3. But the FV, the best outstanding feature on it is a 17-pounder gun, and frankly we've seen a lot of 17-pounder guns, so I can't really say that it's got that going for it. So it's a mediocre heavy tank, frankly. I do quite like it, however, saying that. I do quite like it as a tank. you know, it's mediocre, but then again, it's not particularly bad at anything. I mean, maneuverability isn't great, but it's decent enough. The armor isn't that great, but it's good enough with angling and things. The gun, the penetration isn't as great as you would like, but it's got rapid fire going for it. I mean, it doesn't really have. It's like the Easy 2, the M4A3. Sorry, the M4A2E4 in Blitz. Yes, the Tier 5 premium US medium tank in Blitz. That's a pretty mediocre medium tank. This is just a pretty mediocre Tier 7 heavy tank. So it doesn't have anything particularly great about it, but then again, nothing particularly that bad either, other than really camo. But it's heavy tank. What do you expect for camo? As for the crew, it's a crew of 5. You've got the pet. Actually, let's have a look at modules. What am I doing? I'm messing all this up. It carries 74. Carries 74 rounds of 17 pounder ammunition, which is pretty decent. That's a decent supply of ammunition. You got your consumables there. As for equipment, gun rammer, yeah, boost that rate of fire. Camo net, no. 17 pounder's typically a sniping gun, but this 17 pounder isn't. It's pretty inaccurate, so no camo net, no to binos as well. As for coated optics, yeah, if you want to increase your view range, but you don't want to have binos, which you won't want to, then coated optics is always sufficient for that. Enhanced springs, you'll probably want it for the suspension load. Actually, no, you'll want it for the suspension durability. I mean, let's have a look at mobility. So, it has got a weight load limit of 58 tons, so you can fit a fair amount of modules and things on here without reaching load limit. So, you'll want it for the suspension durability more than the load capacity, probably. Gun lane drive, nah, probably not. 2.3 seconds is decent enough. It's pretty average. As for tanks filled with CO2, in case you keep getting set on fire, wet ammo rack, in case your ammo rack keeps getting damaged, which actually I have noticed. I have noticed that my ammo rack does get damaged most games. It's a pretty easy thing to get damaged, unfortunately. So wet ammo rack may not be that bad of an idea on this tank. Spore liner, no, the armor isn't great enough, frankly, to warrant one of them, for me at least. Toolbox is always something useful to put on. Vertical stabilizer, maybe not a bad idea, but then again, 600,000 credits, who really wants to spend that much on vertical stabilizer with a pretty inaccurate gun already, frankly? So I would say no to the vertical stabilizer. And now we can actually move on to the crew. It's a crew of 5, yeah. So your commander, I'm training 6 Sense on him. Eagle Eye, yeah, sure, go ahead, put it on. Eagle Eye's always useful. Jack of all trades if you want. Yeah, it could be useful. Recon is always useful. Go ahead, put that on. Mentor, I don't really see the point in, and you've got your common skills. And now we move on to the gunner, training Deadeye, because doing lots of lovely module damage, especially with a rapid fire gun like this 17 pounder, is going to be useful. So yeah, go ahead and get Deadeye. So yeah, I'm training Deadeye. Snapshot, probably not actually. So 0.39 accuracy isn't that great. Maybe not. Probably not Snapshot. Armorer, you could do if you really don't want to use a repair kit, but then again, you're not that accurate anyway. So I mean, what's a little more in accuracy, eh? Designate target, yeah, could mean the difference between winning or losing the game if you could see that guy for that 1 extra 2 seconds, or those 2 extra 2 seconds even. And then you've got your common skills. As for the driver, I'm training clutch braking because 20 degrees per second traverse speed isn't that great. So yeah, or actually, what is it? 30, isn't it? Yeah, 28. So yeah, 28 degrees per second. It's always nice to have it a little bit higher. So training clutch braking. Off-road driving, going to be useful as a heavy tank. You want to get to the front lines quicker. Smooth ride, maybe not. Preventive maintenance in case you keep getting set on fire. Controlled impact, you can't really ram things. You're not quick enough. So Probably not. Probably hold off of controlled impact. Then you've got your common skills. As for the loader, I am training signal boosting, although I may want to switch that out for oh, actually, sorry, I was talking about the loader. This is the radio operator, so I'm training signal boosting because the signal range isn't that great. And then you may want to go to relay after that. I would definitely say with this tank, prioritize signal boosting for your radio operator. Then relay, situational awareness is always useful. Go for vengeance if you just want something to quickly train on that. And then you've got your common skills. And finally, we can now move on to the actual loader, which I'm training adrenaline rush in. But when crew retraining comes on sale, then I'll probably switch him out for safe stowage, because the Amarak on this thing, like I said, does get damaged pretty frequently. So safe stowage is probably something you'll want. Intuition, I can understand switching between AP and APCR, because I don't think this gets preferential matchmaking, so yeah, you'll probably want some APCR on this tank. And then, of course, Adrenaline Rush is always useful, and then you've got your common skills. So overall, it's a pretty mediocre heavy tank. But I do quite like it. I think it's actually a rather good British heavy tank, frankly. I do quite like it. But yeah, like I said, it doesn't really outstand in any places, but then again, it doesn't really lack in any places other than really concealment. But then, it's a heavy tank, what do you expect from concealment? 140, 151, 160, 120, I mean, concealment isn't the strong point of heavy tanks, frankly. But yeah, so that is the FV201 A45. A mediocre, but I think quite nice actually, heavy tank. So I'll thank you for watching, and goodbye.